Good morning everyone, welcome back to American Truck Simulator. This is David Steele and here's my truck. This is Red Thunder. I know it's been not that long since I've taken her out for a spin, but I'm testing the Cummins KT. And I really wanted a truck that was sufficiently large enough to handle this 18.9 litre, let's just call it a 19 litre engine. So under the hood, yes, we have that Cummins KT. This is the 525 horsepower version that has 1580 foot-pounds of torque, and we're using an 18-speed manual today. It's an Eaton Fuller 18-speed, has a 456 final drive. It is usefully short, shall we say, like Sandy, and if she's listening to this, I am now in big trouble. Let's go ahead and get the engine started. Now at the time of recording this video, this engine is still in its testing phase. It's not quite, well, it may not be quite ready for release into the engine pack. But by the time you're watching this, there's a fair chance that it will have been released. Let's go ahead and jump in the cabin here. Okay, take a quick look around. Everything is pretty much as it was the last time I was here. So I'm, oh actually no it's not, I've got a blue interior these days. Okay, well, that's fair enough. What's that whining sound? Right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get the truck in gear, and let's head out. In fact, let me put my my beacons on. I've just got beacons on the trailer today, I don't have them on the truck itself. And although this is a manual gearbox, I'm going to be using the truck in automated mode, and that's primarily because this is a beta test and I want to see how well the gearbox and the truck cope with the cargo and with the engine, looking at the shift points and how it performs and all that kind of stuff. I have to say, the testing so far has been positive. I've tuned a few little hiccups out of the engine. One of the interesting things about the game is it has to adapt to every particular truck and gearbox that you use. So I jump in this truck with this engine installed in this gearbox. It is not always the best experience if you use it in automated mode. It takes a little bit of a distance for everything to seemingly get calibrated. That's really close. Am I going to make it? I think I am. Not in that gear though. Wow, okay, there we go. Okay, I made it. And that actually draws something else about this engine too. It does not have a lot of torque lowdown. And by not a lot, its clutch engagement torque is less than the ISX-12. So at these sorts of speeds, in other words, just moving it around along in the idle, you don't have that much go. Looks like we're going to clear it there, so let's jump back into the cabin. Yeah, so I'm in low. That's the lowest gear you can do at 700 RPM, and I'm showing us 1 mile per hour. Let's force myself to use manual for a moment. Let's get it up to maybe 1500 revs. So that's 3 miles an hour. Yeah, that's about right. Let's put it back into automated mode. So, if you're thinking about driving with the KT, that's something that you really need to bear in mind. You need short gearing. Peak torque is produced at 1600 revs, and that gives you 500 revs of a power band. That's not the narrowest power band in the world, don't get me wrong, but it's very easy to end up with the engine sort of caught below that rev range. When you use the truck in automated, some of the time it's going to be operating below that 1600 RPM point. In fact, right now it was sitting at 1400. We're in 5 low. It's still going to perform okay. If I squeeze the power down now, it picks up. But it doesn't do much until about now, 1600, and now it starts to really pick up. It's made programming the engine with the automated shift points a bit of a challenge. Because on the one hand, you don't really want the engine to be screaming away to 2000 RPM. Ooh, that was a little rough. to 2000 RPM every single gear change, and that just throws fuel out the back. But if you need a bit of power, or you need a lot of power, that's what you have to do. So far I'm happy with the results, but I haven't tested it on something as heavy as this cargo. So we're going to see how well it works. And right there, it's shifting between one low and low low. Okay, it's better. And it may still be adapting to circumstances, and I expect a little bit of that. Yeah, it's skipping 2 or 3 gears now. That tells me that the gearing is maybe a little too short. Maybe. It's at slow speeds, so it does behave differently at lower speeds compared with higher speeds. So it doesn't feel like it's misbehaving. If you've ever driven, ever used a modded engine and you put it in automated, and it has just not worked very well at all. Maybe it's hung on to every last rev. Maybe it's gone through every gear sequentially at an 18 speed. And taking you a long time to get up to cruise. Yeah, whatever the issue is, I'm trying to not make that a thing. But I'm also trying to keep the engine realistic. Yeah, some engines are easier than others. The KT has so far been a bit of a challenge. There's another challenge here. I've got a blind. Huh. I can't see nothing. This is really bad. Wow. Okay, well, I don't think there's anything coming from the left. What about the right? There was something there. I'm going to use my external view. Okay, there's nothing there. All right. That works for me. One last check. Okay, good. All right, so back on the power. And yeah, it's taking its time. It's going up to 1900 revs and dropping to about 1400. That's okay. Get my headlights on, lights on for safety. In fact, let me use the cruise control and set it at 70. Or 65 actually, this is a World of Trucks trip. So I have a speed limiter in place. Oh, killjoy. Okay, so we've definitely held someone up. It's a bulk feed, I think? Or a milk tanker? I'm not sure. Okay, that's more like it. Shifting up, sort of aiming for 1500, and it pulls okay at 15. It really wants sort of 16, 1700 before it starts to shine. But notice how the shifting characteristics have changed as we've gone up in speed and gone up in gear. We may have a bit more work to do here, but generally. I know I said peak torque was at 16 and needed 16. I think I meant 15. Get off the side, David. There we go. Okay, so 1700 at 51 in 8 low. It's the first overdrive gear. There we go. So zips up to 8 high and 1500 revs, and I'm going to have to stop for the night. It's a bit unfortunate. It's not the first time I've planned a video, got the cargo and all that kind of jazz, and then realised that my driver needs to stop. So, and it certainly won't be the last. I can skip this stop sign here, which is nice. And looks like there's nothing coming from the left, so I'm going to get back on the power nice and early. Tell her what, I'm going left. Merging. Alright. Nicely done. Speed didn't even drop below 30 miles an hour, so I'm happy with that. And let me see. I've got, I guess I haven't reset the trip computer for a while. Let me see. Okay, I've got plenty of fuel left. Something else as well about the KT, it likes to guzzle. And by guzzle, I mean, you know, if you accelerate hard, what moves quicker, the needle or the diesel gauge? It's a little touch and go sometimes. On the other hand, you don't buy a 19-litre engine, throw it in a semi-truck and expect to get Ford Fusion hybrid numbers, right? Or Prius numbers, if you think of it that way. Oh, red light, or light turning red. Okay, let's bring my speed down. Do we have anywhere I can stop coming up? I don't really want to go into Waco downtown. That would be a pain, and I've just not long left somewhere to stop because I hadn't yawned by that point. So I guess we'll look at this map here. Oh, it was actually right next to the. Huh, okay. That was the truck stop. Okay. We will head to the truck stop, and we'll take a stop there. No, I don't need to go around there. So I'll go here. There we go. Good enough. Okay. So yes, it's thirsty. It needs plenty of revs. It benefits a lot from the 18 speed versus a 13 or 12, or especially a 10 speed, because that fairly narrow power band, maybe it's 600 revs and not 500 revs, but it's right at the very top. So if you're pulling a hill in one of these, you really need to make sure your revs are high enough to keep the thing going. And once you start to lose inertia going down a hill, you should really aggressively downshift. If you don't, the engine bogs down and you're suddenly grabbing 4, 5, 6 gears lower. It's not so much fun. Well, it's more of a challenge, I suppose. Now, the reward for massive appetite for fuel and really sensitive when it comes to changing gear is this thing performs very nicely once it gets going. Let's use my parking brake here, I think. It feels quicker than you might expect, and some of that is down to the fact that you need to rev it to get it to perform, so it sounds like it's working harder than perhaps, let's say, an ISX25 might feel. I picked the ISX25. It is a couple of generations newer than this engine, maybe even 3 or 4 generations newer. It needs a few revs to perform as well, but the 525 horsepower version of the ISX, it's a 15-litre engine, so it's smaller, and its torque is 1850, and this one's not even 1650, this is 1580. So it's not got that much torque relative to its power, and it kind of highlights that, yeah, you've got to rev it. And did this guy have a collision? Or has he just not moved for a while? No, I think... Oh, we're in the wrong lane. I see. That's a little unfortunate, but we have nothing coming, so we can go ahead and skip lanes here. Yeah, so it's not exactly a chore to go through all the gears, but if you try and short shift and you're carrying a heavy cargo, it just doesn't work out. And I'm using every single lane I can. My excuse is that this is a 77,500 pound crane. It has a lot of inertia. Okay. Let's turn in here, trying not to hit anything with the rear wheels of the trailer, and maybe managing it. Okay. That's good. So again, we're going to work it through the gears, or rather, it's going to work me through the gears, because this thing is automated. I haven't shift hinted it. Shift hint is where there's a couple of keys you can set, where if you're running in automated mode, you can't tell the gearbox what to do, but you can hint or suggest. And so I tend to put my... Why is this guy moving so slowly? Or girl? I tend to put my shoulder buttons as the shift hint keys. I'll often use the page up, page down on the keyboard too. Now, you can sometimes force the transmission to change and then it'll immediately change back. Is it really forcing? don't know if it's forcing it to change. It'll try the gear, and if it doesn't like the gear for whatever reason, it'll switch you right back. You can generally only hit one gear at a time. Depending on how quickly the transmission will change, you can actually end up getting it to shift up a couple of gears. I think I want to use the left lane here if I'm able to. Don't think I can. Depending where this truck's going. He's going straight ahead. Okay, that's a shame. There's not much of a run, and I've got to be in the left-hand lane, so I don't think I'm going to pull this off very easily. Let's accelerate slowly. Okay. Where'd everybody go? Alright, no, I'm just embarrassed by it. Tell people I want to merge left. Not supposed to merge or crossing an intersection. There we go. Back on the cruise. He's joining the highway for some bizarre reason, but okay. I think this gearbox is changing gear just a little too quickly for my liking. And that might be related with the Freightliner FLB truck that's that mod that seems to cause the gear shift to be a little quick. And I think that's... I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not really accurate. Okay. So I'm going to merge left again. Yeah, it's definitely changing gear quite a bit too quickly for my preference. I can tweak that out of it, or I can just try and remove the mod that might be causing the issue. So when it does change up into 8 high, it's very quick. And it may be that quick when you use the splitter, but when you're actually changing gear, it's not that quick. So I don't think the game allows for a difference in transmission shifts at time. If it's a splitter shift or an actual gear, or a cog change, if you like. We didn't get up to 65 yet, but we're about to because we're heading down a small gradient. There we go. Alright. I have to say, other than the transmission shifting just a little bit too quickly for my liking, this is doing great. I'm almost ready to say that this is ready. That's a sigh of contentment. I'm pleased. See how well it copes with slowing down. What's it going to downshift? There we go. Okay, and it only does once. If I hint at it to change down, I can get it to do 2, but then it doesn't like it. Bit of surface brake now of carrying way too much speed. Okay. This isn't my turning. I think I want the next one, but yeah, I think we're... No, not the next one. It's the following one. This is probably for cars only. Right, well, I think that just about draws tonight's video to a close, or rather this morning's video to a close. Is tonight in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. Thanks ever so much for watching. Hope that you enjoyed it. Look out for the Cummins KT to be released, or have maybe already been released real soon, and it'll be coinciding with the NTC Big Cam engine as well. Be working on those, and they'll both be released at the same time. And all that remains is for me to say thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.